Okay, so we're back today. So what I learned, and I got the new films in today for the fronts. I've kind of already got them installed. What I've learned with this deal is that when you get those inks in, when you get those films in, you see where these screws go in, right here. You got to really notch those films out. Okay, so before you install these, you got to really notch them out so that those films can kind of move around in there. Because if you don't, if you just put holes there and then you try to tighten this whole deal down on top of here, what ends up happening is that film underneath there will end up getting all wrinkled up and get all messed up. So you got to really notch those things out so that they don't bind. Okay, so I've already installed these once, taking it back apart again, having to fix them. So also another thing that's a real bitch is that when you put these sheet metal screws back in, these sheet metal screws, they bury into this trim piece right here, and that's what holds the whole thing together. So as you can see now, that film looks a lot better. It's not all wrinkly and screwed up. Earlier today I installed it and it wasn't right, so I had to pull the whole damn thing back apart and kind of notch that out so that those films weren't binding up. So, and then everything fits back together kind of like a puzzle. But otherwise it's fairly easy. Screwed up my backing a little bit here. This paint that's on here, whatever this pattern is, I tried taping the films down to it, and then when I screwed something up I had to lift it up, and I lifted up a bunch of the paint, so I had to put the tape back down to kind of hold that down. You got to be very careful of this stuff. This stuff's really old. So we're in the process of putting the whole thing back together, but these films look beautiful. Guy on eBay has them. Beer Sign Guru. They're beautiful. They look nice. They fit. They take a little bit of modification. And also the dude I mentioned beforehand that sold me the front plates, those are well worth it. They come already drilled. They come already countersunk. Really, all you do is you drop them in. They're plug and play, and it's no big deal whatsoever. So I really recommend, if you're going to redo one of these signs, get some of those new front plates, the new plastic on front, because what happens is these films, when they go bad, they melt to the front of the plastic, and then your old plastics end up looking really like garbage. And I can't find my old one here, but I'd really recommend, if you're gonna redo these films, in which a lot of times you have to, you not only do you buy the new films, but get the new front clear plastic plates. It'll just boy, I think the guy's name was EMJ Beer Stuff on eBay, and they look beautiful. He asked how they fit in, and well, the answer is they fit in really damn nice. So hats off to you for making these. It's kind of hard to find parts for these things, so it's nice that these guys are out there making this stuff up and putting it on eBay, because otherwise, you know what, man, some of this stuff in here is just really cooked. And like I said, when I opened this thing up, it just freaking stunk. So I mean, everything was just burnt. So looks really good. I think all I got to do is button this side up, put everything back together. The scroll, like I said, everything kind of runs fine. I mean, it makes a little clunk every now and then, but you know what? I mean, that scroll looks like it's going to be a bitch to replace, so I'm going to leave it alone. We're going to button everything up here, then we're going to put it up on the shelf and see how it looks. So hopefully once everything goes back together, it goes back together nice and looks nice, which it darn well should. Everything looked pretty good to me. And but these plates, they all fit together really nice. I can't think of any other warnings to kind of give you, other than when you order the new films, they do take a little bit of trimming, and you will have to work with them a little bit, but nothing huge. The films, otherwise they're the nice thing about them is they're really nice and thick. So when you get them, the old ones are these thin shit that just sort of cracks apart, and it's just like really thin plastic. But these new ones, man, these new ones are like, they're pretty well thick. I don't know how thick they are or what the deal is, but you know, I had to cut them a little bit with an X-Acto knife, and it takes a little bit of pressure to get through them, but they're pretty sweet looking, and I think it's going to be beautiful. So do take good care though, and notch those things out so that that film doesn't bind up. And then everything, I cleaned everything up, and we should be good to go. So best of luck, and once it's up on the wall or up on the shelf and looking good, I'll show you once it's completed.